as the credits rolled up, you saw Blank of the Dead Productions. That's because we didn't know what the name of this movie was going to be up until around a month ago. When I was lucky enough to go on set, and the clapperboards just said, "of the Dead." I would like to bring back to the stage, George A. Romero! So George, I'd like to ask you, you finally directed a Western. You finally directed a Western. Why did you choose to go this route with the story? I mean, it's interesting that it's kind of Diary of the Dead kind of put a string out for this character. Can you just talk about how you decided to go this way with your new film?
Well, the Western thing came a little later. Some of it had to do with style. Some of it had to do with, I just sort of liked the juxtaposition. I mean, traditionally, Westerns are about the individual. And zombie films, at least mine, are more about revolution or failed revolution. It's, you know, nothing to do with the individual at all. And I just thought that was a neat contrast. And then there's an old movie called The Big Country, which I love. And so that sort of became a model. The production designer and Adam, the DP, Mark, the designer, Alex Kavanaugh, the wardrobe. You know, we all watched The Big Country, and that became our model. And you know, some of that was just fun. That's what happens when you leave a guy alone, you know?
Can you talk about just the story, how, I mean, it is kind of a sequel to Diary? I mean, just using one of the minor characters from
yeah,
Diary.
well, Alan is, you know, and we sort of cheated. The guys in the background were not the same guys, but if you don't really see it coming. There's a guy that looks a little bit like Cisco. There's a guy that looks a little bit like Eric. I think we can get away with it.
So I just want to ask, what do you bring to the role of Crockett? I mean, how was it for you, where you had a small role in Diary, and then suddenly you got a call, it's like, hey, we want you to be the lead in the next one?
I don't know, I mean, because I knew George for a bit, and I was sort of called upon to do these sort of National Guard parts for the prior couple movies, and then I was, off to something else, and I heard about the script, and he mentioned, you might be doing a little bit more than just a couple of scenes in the show, but it was great because I don't know, I only really felt like I was sort of playing, it was like Clint Eastwood. I didn't really have to do anything. I just kind of had to grimace and, kind of remember a bit like this and smoke some cigarettes and I don't know, and every single time I did a take, I'd be like, suck ass, great, awesome, let's move on. I guess the whole movie's gonna be like that. And it was, but no, it was just really simple.
Are you a horror film fan? Were you well aware of who George A. Romero was?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's the king of the genre, and he pretty much invented the whole thing. So, and also I worked with him on Land. I had a small role on that.
For like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I cocked a shotgun. That's about it. And then, so I knew him from that, and big fan of the movies, and he's what he does is always going to be something special and something that will be part of the zombie history. And so yeah, it was great to even have the audition and then get the role. It was just ecstatic. So.
And he's such a good sharpshooter.
Yeah, I'm a good shooter.
I just passed the microphone down.
Yeah, no, it was great. I was a big fan of George's before meeting him and working with him, and I was, and still I'm just so glad that he let me do this. It was a blast. We shot near my hometown, Hamilton, which was really fun for me. You saw it. It was fun, and everything was great. George is amazing to work with. He's pretty hands off. I remember a couple times I was like, this is smile because he just keeps moving on. But it was all really great. Great cast. Athena is here as well, who is so amazing as Tomboy. She's like, yeah, I mean, just like amazing coach and just great cast to work with. So much fun to ride horses and shoot guns.
Oh, that was the big thing there. Everyone was making fun of the Mardul, right? Yeah. Pussyfoot, right? No, I mean, it was, it's like boyhood fantasy come true, George. You know? I mean, you gave me a gold-plated Winchester lever-action gun, and I got to shoot things, and then dead things, and then undead things. And no, it was a blast. You know, Kenny and I, we go way back as old friends. We actually did our first feature film together, George, back in the 70s. And I'm sorry he's not here, actually.
Yeah, these guys deserve Purple Hearts. The conditions were hideous. The weather was terrible. It was freezing all the time, and it was largely outdoors at night. Terrible. Huh? Always raining, snowing. It snowed. I mean, it was just terrible. Yeah. And then thought it was really rough conditions. I always look first for that theme. What's it about? And this is not, you know, it's not. Some of the films have been very specific. Dawn of the Dead was consumerism. You know, I mean, they were a bit more obvious, I think. This is more general. It's really about war. You know, it could be Northern Ireland, could be Iraq. You know, that people can't forget tribalism, and it's about tribalism, really. People can't forget that they're enemies, and you know, or they label them as enemies, and can't even faced with an extraordinary changing world. In this case, huge species eradicating event. They're still shooting at each other. So there's always been a disappointment. So that's what this is about. Zombies in space? I don't know. Maybe I could go through all the genres, right? I could just, I don't know, make a gangster zombie. Zombies can't run. They cannot run. Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I never got that sense when we were making this film. But, you know, it's funny now that you mention it. I mean, there are certain visual similarities, but that would be the only connection. The moment you said that, I just thought back. That was another film where the colors weren't muted. It was in your face, sort of, you know, Hollywood-looking color. And so when you first mentioned Night Riders, that's the only thing that came to mind. You just have to make some film, man. I mean, you know, that sounds ridiculously simple, but it's the truth. You can't walk in and tell somebody, I know how to make a movie. You have to be able to show it. So somehow, you know, get a camera somehow and do something. That's really my best advice. And you can do that today. There's a zombie film that was just made in London for what, 45 pounds or something? Yeah.
Except that one's called Colin. It's a zombie film called Colin. Maybe a little bit of a conflict of interest if I showed that one.
I'd like to thank you very much, George. It's an honor having you back. And thank you all.